Good morning, children. Welcome back. In today's session, we will do Class 11, Unit 1 in Computer Science, Fundamentals of Computer, Part 3. Come, children, let us learn. Before digging into today's lesson, let us have a recap of what we learned in the last. We learned about the components of computer. The CPU, the central processing unit, is composed of the ALU, the control unit, and the memory unit. We also learned about the various input units of the computer. Input devices are those devices which allow the user to give input as well as programs as well as data into the computer. We learned about the keyboard, which is the most common input device. And the data and instructions are given as input to the computer by typing on the keyboard. We learned about the mouse, which can be wired or wireless. It is a pointing device used to control the movement of the cursor on the screen. There are mouse actions like move, click, double click, right click, drag and drop. We also learned that the mouse, the present day mouse, the format was invented by Douglas Engelbart. Scanners are used to enter the information directly into the computer's memory. It works like a Xerox machine. It converts any type of printed or written information, including photographs, into a digital format which can be manipulated by the computer. A fingerprint password or reader or a scanner is a safe and convenient device for security instead of using the passwords. We learned about the trackball and the retinal scanner. Retinal scanner use a biometric techniques that uses unique patterns on the person's retinal blood vessels. You would have seen it in science fi movies. They are used in CIA, NASA, etc. We also learned about light pen, which is a pointing device, and it is used to draw directly onto the screen. The optical character reader detects characters printed or written on a paper with an OCR, and user can scan the page from a book. A barcode is a pattern printed in lines of different thickness. It scans the information on the barcode and transmits to the computer for further processing. This is done by a barcode reader. A QR code reader or a scanner is a two-dimensional barcode which can be read by a camera and processed to interpret the image. We also learned about the voice input system, that is microphone, as well as a digital camera. A touchscreen is a display device that allows the user to interact with the computer by using the fingers. A keyer is a device for signaling by hand by way of pressing one or more switches. Children, in this session, we will do the output unit of computer as well as the booting process. In the next unit, we will do the evaluation of the book back exercises. Children, enough of input device. Now we will move on to the output devices. An output device is any part of computer hardware which converts information into human readable form. It could be text, graphics, audio, video, etc. The output devices rely on the response from the computer in the form of visual response for monitor, sound for speaker, or media devices like CD or DVD drives. The purpose of these devices is to translate the machine's response to a usable form for the computer user. The main output devices are monitor, plotters, printers. Printers can be of different types. Impact printers, non-impact, laser printer, inkjet printer. And it could be speaker and multimedia projectors. The output device we're going to learn is monitor. Monitor is the most commonly used output device to display the information, and it looks like a TV. The pictures on the monitor are formed with the picture elements, also called as pixels. There you can see a small area enlarged so that you can see the squares that make up the pixels. Monitors are of two types: a monochrome monitor, which displays the text or images in black and white, or it can be color, which results in multiple colors. There are different types of monitors such as CRT or cathode ray tube, and LCD, liquid crystal display, and LED, light emitting diode display. The difference between an liquid crystal display monitor and an LED light emitting diode monitor is that the LCD monitor features a layer of liquid held between two pieces of polarized glass. They are usually backlit by fluorescent lamps, whereas an LED monitor also features a liquid crystal display, but the backlighting is produced by LEDs and not fluorescent lamps. The LED monitors usually have a superior picture quality, but they come in varying backlight configurations. The LEDs are thinner and the color contrast is also higher, providing a sharper and a higher quality image. The monitor works with the VGA or the Video Graphics Array card. The picture is shown there. The VGA card helps the keyboard to communicate with the screen. It acts as an interface between the computer and the display monitor. Usually, the recent motherboards incorporate built-in video cards. That is, video cards are defaultly built into the motherboard, not as separate ones. The first computer monitor was part of the Xerox Alto computer system, which was released on March 1st, 1973. Xerox Alto was the first computer designed to support an operating system based on a graphical user interface. It was the first system to bring together all of the components of the modern graphical user interface, which implemented the LAN technology called as the Ethernet, and the WYSIWYG, that is what you see is what you get. The WYSIWYG word processor was also produced for the Alto. The next output device is a plotter. It is a hardware very much similar to a printer that is used for printing the vector graphics. Instead of toner, a plotter uses a pen, a pencil or a marker, or maybe any other writing tool to draw multiple continuous lines onto paper rather than a series of dots like that of a traditional printer. There are different types of plotters like the drum plotter, flatbed plotter or the inkjet plotter. With the disadvantage, it occupies larger space and the price, cost is very high. So children, plotter is an output device that is used to produce graphical output onto papers. It uses single color or multicolor pens to draw the pictures. The next output device is a printer. Printers are used to print the information on the paper. A printer can be used to print the text document, images, or a combination. Personal printers are designed to support the individual users, usually connected to a single computer. They are used for low volume, short turnaround print jobs, requiring minimal setup time to produce a printout. Some printers print documents stored on memory cards or from digital cameras or scanners. Then there are virtual printers. It is a software and whose user interface resembles that of a printer drive, but which cannot be connected to a physical computer printer. A virtual printer can be used to create a file which has an image of the data which would be printed for the archival purpose or as an input to another program. For example, you create PDF using a virtual printer. Then you have a barcode printer which is used for printing a barcode. You also have three-dimensional printers for making a three-dimensional object from a three-dimensional model or other electronic data source in which successive layers of material like plastic, metal or food are laid down under the computer control. We can classify the printers on the type of touch the head has on the paper as impact printers and non-impact printers. The impact printers, you can see an example of the impact printer, that is a dot matrix printer and a line printer on the picture there. These printers print with striking of hammers or pins on the ribbon. These can print on multi-part, that means by using carbon paper, by using the mechanical pressure. You can take multiple copies of second copy, third copy when you keep carbon paper in between. For example, our dot matrix printers and line printers. A dot matrix printer is one that prints using a fixed number of pins or wires. Each dot on the printout is produced by a tiny metal rod, also called a wire or pin, which works by the power of a tiny electromagnet or a solenoid, either directly or through a small set of levers. The pins can be of varying numbers, 7 pin, 9 pin, 18 pin, or even 24 pins. It generally prints one line of text at a time. The printing speed of these printers varies from 30 to 1550 CPS, that is a character per second. These printers can print lines from 30 lines to 1550 characters per second. Line matrix printers use a fixed print head for printing. That is, it prints a page-wide line of dots, but it builds up a line of text by printing line of dots. You can see the picture of an old line matrix printer. They are capable of printing much more than 10,000 lines per minute, resulting in thousands of pages per hour. These printers also use mechanical pressure to print on multi-part, that is by using the carbon paper. Large computer systems use a line printer. They come in two varieties, children. They are drum printers and chain printers. A drum printer consists of a drum which consists of a number of characters. Those are printed on the drum. Paper is placed between the ribbon and the head or hammer. There are many hammers in front of the drum. In this drum rotates a very high speed and characters is printed by activating the appropriate hammer. In chain printers, all the characters are printed on the chain and the set of characters are placed on the chain. The chain rotates at a very high speed and characters are printed in activating the appropriate hammer of the character. The pictures of the mechanism of drum printer and chain printer are shown there. Now we will see non-impact printers. In non-impact printers, they form characters and images without direct physical contact between the printing mechanism and the paper. They don't dent or tear the surface of the paper, and better models can produce sharper images than impact ones. Non-impact printers also print in multiple colors. The advantage is that they are not noisy and they give high quality print. They support a vast variety of fonts and different character sizes. These printers do not use striking mechanism for printing, but they use electrostatic or laser technology. An electrostatic printer is a printer that uses an electric charge to deposit the toner on paper. In a laser printing, it is also a kind of electrostatic digital printing. It produces the graphics by repeatedly passing a laser beam back and forth over a negatively charged cylinder called a drum to define definitely charged image. The quality and speed of these printers are better than the impact ones. Examples are laser printer, inkjet printer, and so on. Children, now we will see the laser printer. Laser printers mostly work with similar technology used by photocopiers. It makes a laser beam scan back and forth across a drum. You can see the picture of a drum that is green in color inside the printer, building up a pattern. It can produce a high good quality of graphic image. The chief characteristics of a laser printer is the resolution. Resolution is DPI, that is dots per inch. Dots per inch, DPI. The available resolution range is around 1200 DPI. It can print 100 pages per minute, that is ppm. You have two words in this, dots per inch, that is DPI, which is a resolution, and next one is the ppm, that is pages per minute. In the picture you can find the cartridge, the laser cartridge, and the toner, the colored toner as well as the black toner is there. The cartridge, in the cartridge you can find individual colors. Black and white cartridges will carry the black colored toner, and the printing technology is by using the drum. Inkjet printers use color cartridges which combined magenta, yellow and cyan ink to create color tones. There you can see the cartridge and the ink. A black cartridge is used for monochrome output, that is for black and white. Inkjet printers work by spraying ionized ink at a sheet of paper. The speed of the printers generally range from 1 to 20 pages per minute or ppm. They print by propelling droplets of ink onto paper or plastic. They are most commonly used type of printers, range from small, inexpensive consumer models to expensive professional machines. Starting from 2000, you get an inkjet printer. The inkjet printer uses a technology of firing ink by heating it so that it explodes towards the paper in bubbles, or by using piezoelectricity, in which tiny electric currents controlled by electronic circuits are used inside the printer to spread ink in jet speed. The piezoelectric effect is the ability of certain materials to generate electric charge in response to applied mechanical stress. Most of the inkjet printers by Epson work on piezo effect, and thermal effect printers are produced by Canon and HP printers. In a piezoelectronic printer, when an electrical charge is applied to the print nozzle, the elements bend backward, forcing precise amount of ink onto the substances. In the thermal inkjet printer, they use heat instead of electricity to force ink from the print head to the substrate, as in the way in which water bubbles when boiled. It vaporizes the ink to create a bubble that expands so rapidly the ink literally explodes onto the paper. The printhead nozzle of a printer by using mechanical force as well as piezoelectricity is shown there, and the process of printing is also done schematically. If music be the food of love, play on, said Shakespeare. Yes, children, we can't think of a day without music in our lives, isn't it? Starting from the Suprapadam we hear in the morning, we cannot be avoid of the music in our lives. The speakers are used to produce the voice output, that is the audio. If you use a speech synthesizer software along with the speaker, it can produce a voice output. You would have listened to this voice output in places like the railway station or the airlines and schools and banks, where they say the token number for the customer. There are different types of speakers available, like the cheap multimedia speakers to surround sound speaker. You could have a sound bar, home theater speaker, portable speaker, as well as a internal speaker. Next we move on to the multimedia projectors. They are used to produce computer output on a big screen. They are used to display presentations in meeting halls or do a class in the classroom. There are different types of projectors like a CRT projector, liquid crystal display projector, or a digital light processing projectors. Cathode ray tube uses lens to project the image. LCD projector uses LCD to project an image, and the digital light processing uses micro mirrors to project an image. CRT projectors are bulky and heavy, but they have a brilliant and outstanding picture quality, whereas an LCD technology uses a thinner compared to the CRT technology. You can see the working of a projector in a schematic manner on the screen. Now we will see what is booting. An operating system or OS is a basic software that makes the computer to work. So without operating system, computer hardware is useless. When a computer is switched on, there is no information in its RAM. You know, children, RAM is a random access memory. It's a primary memory of the computer, and there are no information in it. At the same time, in ROM, that is read-only memory, the pre-written program called POST. POST is power on self-test. Power on self-test POST will be executed first. So RAM is empty, ROM information are there, because it is ROM is read-only memory, some pre-written information is there. From that, a program called as post is power on self-test will be conducted, will be executed by the operating system. That is the basics of the operating system to load, because it is going to check whether all the powers are to the different devices are okay or not. After that only the operating system starts its function. Operating system will have to be loaded into the RAM. This program will check if the devices like the RAM, the keyboard, the mouse are connected properly and ready to operate. So first program check is from the ROM, read-only memory. They'll do a BIOS, they'll do a post, power on self-test. Then once these devices are ready, then the BIOS, that is basic input output service system, gets executed. First post, then BIOS, basic input output system. And this process is called booting. Booting is the process of loading the operating system into the memory. Thereafter, a program called bootstrap loader, the program name is bootstrap loader, transfers the operating system in the hard disk from the hard disk into the main memory, that is a RAM. Now the OS gets loaded. It could be Windows or it could be open source Linux, etc., and will get executed. You can see the opening screen of Windows and Linux on the picture there. So we can say in a nutshell, the first process is post, power on self-test. After that, BIOS sets in. That process is called as booting. After that, a bootstrap loader will be done. Bootstrap loader from ROM to memory. Then bootstrap loader will loader from the disk, that is a hard disk. Loader loads the OS from the hard disk to the memory. Then transfer of control from the loader to the OS. That is the process of booting. Now booting can be two types. It could be a cold booting or a warm booting. A cold booting is the process of turning on a computer after it has been powered off completely, whereas a warm booting is the process of restarting a computer that already is powered on. A cold boot is usually performed by pressing the power button, whereas a hard boot or a warm boot is done by pressing the restart button or by pressing the key combination of Alt, Control and Delete. Now we will see what is cold booting. Cold booting is when the system starts from initial state, that is, it is switched on. We call it cold booting or hard booting. When the user presses the power button, the instructions are read from the ROM to initiate the booting process. The frequency of cold booting is regular. It is otherwise called as hard boot or cold boot. You will be doing the power on self-test. That is, a computer is turned on from a powerless state. It is not going to affect the data or the software on your computer. That is, the system starts by its regular process. You press the power button, the microprocessor is initialized, and then the ROM is ready and the system boot process gets started. Now we will see what is a warm booting. When the system restarts or when reset button is pressed, we call it warm booting or soft booting. The system does not start from the initial state, and so all diagnostic tests need not be carried out in this case. For example, post may not be carried out. There are chances of loss of data and system damage, as the data might not have been stored properly. That is, you can do the restart by pressing the restart button or by using Alt, Control and Delete key combination, and it is done in a occasional manner, and its other names are dead start or soft boot. The post, power on self-test, may not be needed. An already running computer is being reset, so the system may get damaged by warm booting. Now let us see the important points. Computers are seen everywhere around us in all the spheres of life. be it be school, banks, offices, supermarkets, or even gaming centers. It is an electronic device that processes the input according to the set of instructions, that is programs, provided to it and gives the desired output at a very fast rate. Based on the various stages of development, computers can be divided into 6 different generations. The computer is a combination of hardware and software. They are inseparable. Without each other, they cannot function. Hardware is a physical component of the computer like the keyboard, mouse, motherboard, etc. Input unit is used to feed any form of data into the computer. There are many input devices to the computer like the keyboard, mouse, OCR, barcode reader, retinal scanner, keyer, digital camera, and so on. The CPU or the central processing unit interprets and executes the software instructions. ALU is a part of CPU where various computing functions like arithmetic operations and logical operations are performed on data. The control unit controls the flow of data between the CPU, memory, and the input-output devices. It takes the overall control of the working of computer. An output unit is any hardware component that conveys information in one or more user understandable form. The memory unit is of 2 kinds, which are primary memory and the secondary memory. Primary memory is or the main memory of the computer is the RAM, and the secondary memory or the permanent memory, which is the hard disk, CD drive, pen drive, flash drives, etc. Before we wind up the session, let us have a recap of what we learned in this session. We learned about the various output devices. The first output device was monitor, which is the most commonly used output device to display the information. And the pictures on a monitor are formed with the picture elements called as pixels. Different types of monitors like the CRT, LCD, and LED are available. The monitor will work with the help of a VGA card. Most of the VGA cards are built into the motherboard. The first computer monitor was part of a Xerox Alto system, which was released in March 1st, 1973. A plotter is an output device that is used to produce graphical output on paper or plastic. It uses single color or multicolor pens to draw the pictures. You have printers used to print the information on the paper. Printers are of 2 types. They are impact printers and non-impact printers. The impact printers work by printing or striking of hammers or pins on ribbons. They can be used on multi-part, that is using carbon copies, by using mechanical pressure. Examples are dot matrix printers and line printers. In non-impact printers, we learned about the laser printers and the inkjet printers. They do not use striking mechanism for printing, but rather use electrostatic or laser technology. In a laser printer, laser beam scans back and forth across a drum inside a printer, building up a pattern. It can produce very good quality of graphic image. They use things like toner and drum. In an inkjet printer, they use color cartridges which are combined magenta, yellow, and cyan to create the color tones. They work by spraying ionized ink at a sheet of paper. They are cheap and easy to use. We also learned about the speakers which are used to produce a voice output. Multimedia projectors are used to produce computer output on a big screen. They are used in display presentations, in meetings, or even in a classroom. We also learned about the booting of computer. The operating system is the basic software that makes the computer to work, and the loading of operating system from the secondary hard disk, secondary storage device, that is the hard disk, into the main memory or the primary memory of the computer or the RAM is called as booting. And it occurs in a number of steps. The first one is power on self-test or the post. It is done to check whether all the devices like the RAM, the keyboard are connected properly. Once it is ready, then it does the BIOS, that is basic input output system. That is, all the devices are working or not, it is checked, and this process is called as booting. After that, a program called as bootstrap loader transfers the OS from the hard disk into the main memory. Now after that, you get the operating system, main window of the operating system. The opening screen we will get after that. There are two types of booting. One is called as cold booting, another one is warm booting. A cold booting occurs when the system starts from the initial stage, whereas a warm booting occurs when the system restarts or the reset button is pressed. With that, we wind up today's session, my dear children. In the next session, we will do the evaluation of the book back answers. Dear children, thank you for watching this class. Comment your doubts and suggestions. Please share and subscribe our YouTube channel, youtube.com/online CBSE classes. Thank you.